So now we're doing the final edging. As you will have just seen with the final floor sanding, I mean, this floor was so uneven that there's still unevenness in it now. I mean, it was so bad that I'm struggling to get this flat with these tools anyway. So you could see I just kept going over those areas, not directly over the areas where there was still filler, but I was going around them as well to try and bring the area down so that the whole thing's flat, not just trying to concentrate and dip into the wood to get those bits out. Again, sand down around the dips to bring it all flat and level, and that's what I'm going to do with this, because the edging's not flat as well. I mean, it looks really good, but I'm just going to try and get it more flat than it is so that it looks good when it's finished. That was a bit of a nightmare because the edging disc is actually it's cut slightly, so it bends out towards the edges, so it's actually created quite a mess along the edge here, but that's what finishing sanders are for, especially primarily, is blending the floor sanding with the edge sanding. So it's even with a good edger, it will be still slightly uneven where the floor sander meets the edge sanding. So by using a large surface area finishing sander, you will smooth that out. So you go around the edges first quite slowly to try and smooth that out, and then go over the bulk of the floor just to get that nice and smooth as well. So I'm just going to do the final corners now. Most people that sand their own floors stop here. This is where they put their finish on. So they'll get all the sanding done with the floor sander, the edge sander, do the corners, and that's when they put on their finish. So it's that's the difference mainly between DIY sanders and professional floor sanders. Professional floor sanders will use a finishing sander to smooth the wood. So even if you have 120 grit on a floor sander, it doesn't create the same flat smooth surface that a finishing sander will. You can use a 60 grit on a finishing sander and it will produce a smoother surface than 120 grit on a linear sanding machine. I don't recommend going any higher than 80 grit with the edge sander, purely because once you get onto 100 grit, it spins so fast that it burns out fairly quickly, starts burning the wood. It can be difficult to get the scratches out with the 100 grit, and also that 100 grit can end up being so much smoother than the bulk of the floor that if you don't use a finishing sander and you put the finish on, you can see the difference between the edges and the main body of the floor. So, but yeah, I'm just going to do the corners and then we're going to start the finish sanding. So.